journey, led me to the game. The game led me out of the struggle, but in order for me to be successful at the game, I had to be in love with the struggle.
Let's go!
Hey, everybody in the Zeigler Auto Group, partners, vendors, and fellow Drive for Life contributors, welcome to this special edition of the Future of ZAG Today podcast. I'm your host, Sam Dark, and along with me today, several special guests. In less than a month, on September 13th, 2021, much of the Zeigler Auto Group, along with you, our vendors, partners, and friends, will join together in Kalamazoo, Michigan, as the ZAG has done 39 times before, to celebrate, to learn, and most importantly, to give. If you haven't attended the Drive for Life Charity Gala, this special edition episode is for you. If you have attended and are looking forward with great anticipation, as am I, to that special September night, this episode is also for you. Today, we'll hear from ZAG President and CEO Aaron Zeigler, who will share views from the ZAG on this charity event and what it means to him and the entire Zeigler Auto Group family. Zeigler CFO Dan Scheid will also share thoughts on what to expect Gala night. Also, we'll hear from a possibly lesser-known charity with close ties to the ZAG that benefits from this annual event. Then finally, the Future of ZAG Today is proud to present Drive for Life's featured speaker, NBA superstar, and soon-to-be Hall of Fame inductee, Ben Wallace. But now, let's turn to Views from the ZAG with Aaron Zeigler, Special Edition ACS. Now, the Zeigler Auto Group, 78 franchises across 35 dealerships in Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and the newest acquisition stores in Wisconsin, Subaru, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, over 2,000 employees across 5 states, and then projected to do over $2 billion, 2.2 to be exact, in sales the next year. Welcome, Aaron, to the Future of ZAG is today.
Thanks, Sam. Great to be with you today.
So we're here to talk about the Zeigler Auto Group annual Drive for Life Gala. Tell us a little bit about that event, how it started, and the history of it.
Well, Sam, this is the longest running charity event in West Michigan, and it's also the largest one in Kalamazoo. My dad started this almost 40 years ago. And, as most of these events do, it kind of started out small, raising a few $1,000s the first year. And, it's growing each and every year. And our organization has really embraced this. It's a great way to give back to the communities that we do business in, and to be able to support not only some of the big national charities, but a lot of the local charities as well, too.
So some of the charities that this supports is the American Cancer Society, I think Make-A-Wish Foundation. How do you choose those charities that benefit from this large event annually? Well,
the American Cancer Society is something that's really close to our heart. We've lost a number of family members to cancer. And really, the American Cancer Society is winning the fight on cancer. The survival rates are going substantially up now, and they're making a big impact on that. So that's how we got started with the American Cancer Society. And as this grew over the years, we realized that we could have an impact on a lot of local charities, too. Charities like MRC Industries that places people in jobs with disabilities and people that are underprivileged, that don't have the opportunities that we do. We're trying to give them those opportunities and just make the communities that we do business in a better place.
So you've been quoted as saying most people don't think big enough. Most people aren't competitive enough. Now, it's interesting. If you go back to 1982, the ticket cost $1 and generated $20,000 in charity funds, which was probably a good number for then. What's your goal this year as someone who has a big vision for what this is?
So this year in the one night, Sam, we'd like to raise $750,000. And we do that a number of ways. We've got a lot of great sponsors that have been with us for a long time. We've got some new sponsors this year. Also, we sell tickets, and a ticket gives you a chance to win a brand new Honda or $30,000 in cash. It's a lottery system. And then we've got a live auction, and we got some amazing live auction items that you will not find anywhere else in the world but with us. And then this year we've got Ben Wallace as our speaker. And Ben has an amazing story. So the event is on September 13th, Monday night. On September 11th, 2 days before Ben's going to be with us, he is going into the NBA Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So the first event he's going to do after the Hall of Fame is with us. He's going directly from the Hall of Fame event to our Drive for Life event. Ben's got an incredible story. He is the only player in the history of the NBA that went undrafted and made it to the Hall of Fame. And he also has an incredible story of perseverance. He's an amazing speaker, and he's going to share that story that evening with everybody.
So the event itself has a great history of speakers. So in 2014, PJ Fleck, Jim Craig has spoken, Kirk Cousins has been there, Zach Terrell, Tom Izzo, Chris Spielman. Last year it was to be Corey Davis of the Tennessee Titans. So we're excited to have Ben Wallace this year. We're excited to hear this year what Ben Wallace shares with us and what we learned during the event. So Aaron, obviously there's a lot of people that attend this event, and to hit that 750 in goal, that takes a lot of donations. What does it mean to you to have business partners or vendors of the Zeigler Auto Group contribute to this event?
We greatly appreciate all of our vendor partners coming out and supporting this and donating funds for this. We certainly couldn't do it without them. And then all the individuals that buy tickets. It's really the whole community of really the Midwest coming out, giving back to those that are less fortunate. And all of us together are going to be able to leave the world a better place than we found it, make a positive impact. And that's what's really exciting to me. And this is going to be the first big event in Kalamazoo. We're getting everybody together, kind of coming out of the pandemic. So I think everybody's looking to socialize. Everybody's looking for a really fun party. We've got some amazing auction items that night, live auction items that you will not find anywhere else. One-of-a-kind items, some incredible experiences that people will be able to bid on that night.
Give us kind of a tease for what some of them are. I do know the one is a vehicle, right, Aaron? And what kind of vehicle is it that's being raffled off?
Well, we're going to give away a new Honda Accord or $30,000 in cash. Wow. So anybody that buys a ticket is registered to win. We're going to pull the winner that evening. So somebody's going to leave there with a new car or $30,000. The odds are 1 in 6 or 1 in 700, depending on how many tickets we sell. Yeah, the odds are very good of doing that. It's guaranteed that we're going to give away a car. And then some of the live auction items. So we have a 116-foot boat that we're going to auction off where you can be on it for 4 days, 3 nights for 3 couples. So if a couple people want to get together and go in on that, they can spend 4 days down in the Bahamas on a 116-foot boat cruising around. Wow. We've got a suite at Lambeau Field. So we're going to fly private jet from Kalamazoo to Lambeau Field to go watch a Green Bay Packers game for 6 people and then fly back after the game. We've got a condo for a long weekend in Trump Towers on the 74th floor of Trump Towers in Chicago that will be up for auction. We got some other cool things we're working on, a house in Napa Valley for a week for 4 couples. So we're going to have a lot of really, really cool auction items that you can't get anywhere else in the world. We'll have over 100 silent auction items as well. Another big item that you can't get anywhere else is we're going to auction off a golf trip down to Sage Valley, which is one of the top golf clubs in the world. It's right by Augusta. It kind of goes head to head with Augusta as one of the top 5 courses in the world. It's private. You can't get in there, but we've got 2 days worth of golfing for 8 guys there. So I could go on and on with some really, really cool stuff that we're going to have, but you got to be there and you got to be live on the live auction and be ready to go.
That's excellent. So what's your vision of the ACS charity event in the future? As you think about this, you've grown it from $1 a ticket in the early 1980s and $20,000 up to $750,000. What do you see the future of this event?
Eventually we'd like to get it over $1 million a year, funds raised, and we're on a path to be able to do that. And if we can keep raising the level of sponsorships that we get and the auctions that we get in the live auction, I think we've got a great shot at doing that here in the next couple of years.
That's excellent. So, Aaron, how can Zeigler employees support this event as they do so well every single year?
We greatly appreciate all the support we get from our employees, and they've been wonderful at buying tickets for the event. And, if they can help to continue to buy tickets and be at the event that night and help to sell tickets and help to bring in sponsorships, those are the main things that they can do to really help make this thing successful. And we'll take all the help we can get. And anybody that'd like to buy tickets and sell tickets and help get sponsorships should be greatly, greatly appreciated.
Aaron, how many other events do you ask money for from people we do business with?
This is the only event that we do. It's a once-a-year deal, and we go all in on this event. We don't ask people for money for any other events, just this one.
Yep. And what % of the proceeds go to these charities, American Cancer Society and others?
100% of the proceeds. We have all of our expenses. We cover that in-house, so there's no expenses for the event. So every dollar that we raise goes 100% to the charities.
Thanks, Aaron. We turn to Zeigler Auto Group CFO Dan Scheid. longtime proponent and friend of the gala, for insights into what it will be like for first-timers to attend the event this year. Would you just describe what it's like to come to this ACS Charity Gala annually? What are people greeted by as they walk into the foyer of the hotel there?
Yeah, so on the night of the event, Sam, it's energy, right? So everybody's getting together, and years ago, we strictly raised money for the American Cancer Society. And admittedly, that was when it was a much smaller event. But as the event grew, and Aaron had some pretty big vision that that was drawn to it, and we started raising a lot more dollars, we started making the event a lot bigger, which meant more people, which meant more dollars, more sponsorship. And so now when you walk into the Radisson on Monday, September 13, there's going to be many, many people from the community. What's really cool, and I've already got some emails from some of my my vendors and suppliers and partners over in Illinois that said, hey, you know what, we're going to drive over. I've had our contractors drive over. So it's not just West Michigan. It's truly kind of a Midwest, or call it the Zeigler footprint that joins us. A lot of our out-of-town suppliers like you, Sam. I mean, you and your team, you've been a partner with us for 10 years, part of the organization for 10 years, and you guys always flew in for the event. But a lot of energy. The number one way to support the event is buy a ticket, right? So, I mean, we all have our own personal charitable causes that we give to, or our church or whatever it might be. This is a charity. Drive for Life Foundation is a charity, and it's a charity that supports charity is really what it is. That's the number one way to support it. I'd love it to see employees get involved and buy a ticket. Sometimes a few employees band together and split a ticket, they get 30 grand. You can easily split 30 grand, right?
Yeah. So, and Aaron made the point when we talked with him, Dan, that there is no other single event that the Zeigler Auto Group says to our partners. So let alone employees, they support it, and it's a great event. But our business partners, we've got a lot of vendors, we've got a lot of other people we do business with. This is the one single event where we go out and say, hey, support us in this, right? So who are some of the largest corporate partners or sponsors of the event? What does it mean to you to have them aboard?
So we have a long list, right? But some of our biggest supporters, and I don't want to use that term to signify somebody's bigger than another, but Huntington National Bank writes a very large check. They really support in a big way, and they're obviously a partner bank of ours. Brown Insurance is very important. Obviously, we started partnering with them last year, and they make a significant contribution. Honda Motor Company. So Honda, we raffle off a Honda, and so Honda's stepped right up and said, hey, we also want to support, financially. Kaiser Insurance Group, who takes care of all of our benefits, they write a fairly significant check, and our law firm, who gives us a lot of outside support, Varnum Law, and then CDK Global, our business system provider, also. So I mean, those are some of the bigger contributions that are made. But again, I'm remiss, because if they go out to the website, driveforlifefoundation.com, it's got all of our charities and supporters. And certainly when you come that night, we scroll them on the board, and we've got the the panels up that gives them recognition. So big or small, everybody's really important.
Yeah. And it means a lot to you to see those names on the list, does it not? As a key person in decision-making and whatnot in the Zeigler Auto Group.
Yeah. It's, if you really think about it, you want to support people that support you, right? And so we obviously are big supporters of all the organizations I just mentioned. We give them a lot of business. And, this is their way of acknowledging and recognizing that and supporting back. And at the end of the day, they also just want to do good like we want to do good. They know that ultimately there's really good charities that are going to benefit from this.
Thank you to the many sponsors Dan Scheid listed, and the many more who will be highlighted and seen at the event on September 13th. Your contributions are meaningful and enormously valued at the ZAG. Thanks for contributing your time and resources to these charities. So who are some of these charities? Well, we all know the American Cancer Society. Aaron mentioned their great work. My own mom tragically passed of cancer nearly 20 years ago. I'm grateful for ACS's efforts to end the scourge of cancer, to lighten the load of those who have it, and to shine the light of hope into the darkest moments for those surrounded by this tragic disease. But who are the other charities who benefit from the Drive for Life event? Well, next up, you'll meet one such charity. Here with me today is Chris Zeigler. Yes, you'll note the last name, and we'll explain the affiliation shortly. Chris Zeigler is president of MRC Industries. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sam. Thanks so much for having me.
So, Chris, tell us a little bit about your role with MRC Industries. What is your title there, rather?
My title is CEO of MRC Industries, And we're an organization, we're a nonprofit human service agency that provides services to people with disabilities. So we serve a wide range of individuals with all different types of disabilities, primarily individuals with developmental or intellectual disabilities, people with diagnosis of mental illness. We serve people with traumatic brain injury. And we also have a number of people we serve that have both a physical disability and a developmental disability. So for example, they might be in a wheelchair and also have a developmental disability.
Wow. So I want to ask how you got into this because it's so unique. But before we do that, Chris, we can't go past your last name to get your other title. So you must have an affiliation with the Zeigler family, yes? Aaron and Harold in particular.
Yes, I do. So Harold is my older brother and Aaron is my nephew.
Okay. Excellent. What took Harold down the automotive route and how did you become affiliated with MRC Industries? What's your road there?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because when I was in college, I went to school at Central Michigan University, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. After I graduated, I happened to see an ad in the newspaper for a position with an organization in Mount Pleasant called Mid-Michigan Industries, and they served individuals with disabilities. And I thought, well, that sounds kind of interesting. It was helping people get jobs in the community so you could work with the business community. And so I went ahead and applied and didn't have any experience at all in the field and ended up getting the job. I was pretty excited about that, and I ended up staying with that organization for 20 years and worked my way up through the company. 14 years ago, the CEO of MRC Industries, where I'm at now, was retiring, and I decided to apply for the position. I thought it would be a new challenge for me, and it was also in Kalamazoo, so it would be a chance to get closer to my family, to Harold and Aaron and the rest of our family. And so I applied and ended up getting the job. So I feel very, very fortunate and very lucky to be able to lead this organization.
So what is it about the mission of the organization? Everybody has a choice about companies they can be affiliated or work they can do. What is it about the mission of MRC Industries that appeals and attracted to you?
Well, our mission is to encourage and support individuals with a disability to achieve their fullest potential. And we do that in a number of different ways. Well, one of the things I love about MRC, and there's a lot of great nonprofit organizations out there, but one of the things I really love about MRC is we're not just giving a handout to people. We're teaching people job skills, employment skills, and skills that will assist them in becoming more independent in their lives. So we're giving them the tools that they need to have success in their life. And one of the things I really love about our mission is, we've all had advantages and opportunities in our lives. And for the individuals we serve, they haven't had those same advantages and opportunities. Instead, they've faced a lot of barriers and challenges in their lives. And the opportunity to help them overcome some of those barriers and challenges that they have, to be accepted in the community and to be a part of our community and to gain independence. I just love our mission.
That's beautiful because it's so easy oftentimes to give money to something, but to slow down and spend some time helping give someone tools to go out and be more successful and to really truly participate in the economy and participate socially in the world. That's a real gift that takes time and it takes being intentional. Do you have some success stories as a result of your efforts within MRC of getting someone trained vocationally and them going out and being a productive member of the workforce?
I could be here all day telling you lots of different stories of individuals that have been successful in getting employment. And, we've had a number of individuals that we've worked with that have really had some very significant barriers to employment, and people with physical disabilities, helping them do some accommodations on the job so that they can be successful. And one of the things that we always talk about is the fact that just because someone can't do a job the way you or I might do it, doesn't mean they can't do it. And so our job is to help find a way that they can do the job. And I think some of the success stories that we've had have not only been, on behalf of the individuals we serve, but also families. And there's a really cool story that I was thinking about just recently that we had happen. We have an art program that's downtown Kalamazoo on the Kalamazoo Mall. And it's
I read
for artists.
About that, yeah.
Yep, it's for artists with developmental disabilities. We have about 65 artists that participate in that, and we have art instructors come in. This was 3 or 4 years ago. We had one of the federal judges here in Kalamazoo had become acquainted with our art program and had been into our art gallery and retail store and had purchased artworks. And at the time, they were going to renovate the federal building, the federal courthouse in downtown Kalamazoo, and his courtroom was going to be renovated. And he got the idea of putting in, commissioning some artwork from some of the artists that he really liked their artwork, and purchasing the paintings and then having them displayed in his courtroom. His office contacted us and we said, yes, we'd love to participate in that. So he purchased the artwork, and then he got the idea of having an open house in his courtroom to unveil all of it. And he invited the community in, and the judges and attorneys and courtroom staff and MRC staff and our artists and their families. And I'll never forget the day I walked in there the night of the open house to see all the artwork from our artist displayed. He had it all blown up and framed, and it was just beautiful. And one of the parents of one of our artists came up to me and said, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, I never dreamed in a million years that my daughter would have her artwork displayed in a building like this. And she was very emotional and broke down crying. And it really hit home to me the impact that the services that we provide have, not only on the individuals we serve, but also on their families.
That's a beautiful story. Is the artwork still there to this day?
Oh, yeah.
So for those listening, one way you could participate and support this effort is, for heaven's sakes, don't be called into that courtroom on a business official duty unless you're a lawyer. It's there. Is that courtroom identifiable by a number or a letter, or is it?
It's actually the bankruptcy court.
Okay, well, so don't find your way in there, but if you do, you can appreciate the art. That's awesome.
Yes. We had another interesting thing that I think shows some of the success that we've had, but we recently had a person we serve pass away, and he had been a longtime participant in our program, and the family had contacted us and asked if they could have the memorial service at MRC. And we of course said yes, and it was really a beautiful service. And when we were leaving, the family presented us with a card that we opened up and later on, and it was a very generous donation, but the sentiment in the card was just really touching. And I have it actually here in front of me, but I won't read all of it, but it says, thank you for the many, many years of caring and nurturing you provided to John. Your efforts unlocked potential where others would never look. That really hit home to me, because that's really what we're about, is unlocking potential. And sometimes we see potential in people that others just never saw. And our job as employees of MRC is to bring that potential forward. And the fact that, we had a family member that really recognized that and was very meaningful to us and to our staff.
That's beautiful. How has COVID impacted what you do? I would imagine, a lot of the social restrictions and, stay in place and distancing and whatnot, has that created a more urgent need at this time?
Yes, it's really had a major impact on us. We were shut down for 3 months when the outbreak initially happened. We had to make sure that we had precautions in place, so we had to do a lot of environmental modifications to our buildings where we provide services in-house. That took a lot of effort and a lot of financial support to be able to do that. And then, we had people that were afraid to come back, and some of the individuals we serve are medically fragile, and we had to err on the side of caution to make sure that we could provide a safe environment and that we didn't bring people back too quickly. So we're back up to about 70% capacity right now. We're continuing to operate as safely as we can and take precautions. It had a major impact on us, where our funding is reliant on providing face-to-face services. We had to go through a number of changes in order to continue to provide those services. We're optimistic about the future, and we know that there's still a need for our services.
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of the recipients of your services are people who not only have developmental, maybe some mental health issues, but also things like traumatic brain injury. For those who may be listening to the podcast across the Zeigler Auto Group and across our sponsor network, if you're familiar with someone in the state of Michigan that might benefit from your services, is there a way to reach out to you or your team and find out about receiving that help for people who may be in need of it?
People can call, MRC anytime. They can ask for me or one of our program directors. We have a website, www.mrcindustries.org, that people can also get contact information on. But yes, we're more than happy to talk to anyone, even if it's that they don't want services, but they just need someone to maybe help navigate through the system and figure out what services are available out there. We're more than happy to help in any way that we can.
So for those who contribute to ACS, the Drive for Life charity this year, there are a portion of the proceeds of the event that come to MRC Industries and straight to MRC, by the way. And that's one of the neat things as Harold set it up and as Aaron has blown it up, 100% of those proceed dollars come straight into the charity. What does it mean to you, this annual event, as the years have gone on?
Well, it means a lot personally to me that this event supports MRC. With me being the CEO of MRC and my family driving the Drive for Life event, the fact that they have chosen to have us be the recipient of some of the funds is very personally meaningful. To me, it means that my family and others support our mission and they believe in what we're doing. That's really wonderful. Of course, the funds that we receive help support the services that we provide. My family's been, of course, involved with this event for years and years and years. I can't remember exactly how long it's been going on.
40 years.
This is kind of a funny story. When I lived in Mount Pleasant and I worked for Mid-Michigan Industries, I can remember, occasionally coming down for the event, and it used to be held at the dealership on Stadium Drive on the showroom floor. And I can remember my dad, contacting me and saying, hey, here's the date of the event if you want to come down. And one year, I think it was right after I started my first job, I said, Dad, I want to buy a ticket this year for the event. And I can't remember how much it was. I want to say it was like $25 or $50 or something. And I said, is there any way I could split the cost of a ticket with a friend of mine and we could have both names on the ticket? I'll never forget my dad saying, yes, you can do that. He goes, if you win the car, that you get the half with the engine in it.
That's great.
And every year when we have that event, I always think of him saying that, and it really makes me laugh.
Isn't that a great tradition? The car raffle is part of this charity event. And we've talked about that on the show. The odds of winning are so incredible as compared to other similar events. It really speaks to the generosity of the Zeigler family, to this tradition that Harold started and Aaron has just blown up. I think they generated $20,000 the first year, and I think $750,000 is the goal this year, which would just be, incredible.
When you think about the other charities involved in the American Cancer Society, and we've all had people touched by that, it's just really a wonderful event and very honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, we are appreciative of you and your efforts with MRC Industries and working with those who are in need. And I'm excited. I want to go see the art store. I've seen it downtown, and I plan one day on walking in. And certainly, I never want to be in the courtroom officially, but I'll try to find a way to sneak my way in without having to go through BK. But one last question, Chris. Let's say you and Aaron and Harold are in a threesome golfing. Tell us what the outcome is. You're all proficient golfers. Who has the advantage?
Well, I definitely have the advantage, and I mean, you can just go by past history to know that I have the advantage. In fact, I like to say one of the reasons I also moved to Kalamazoo is not just for this job, but it was more opportunities to try to play golf with Harold and Aaron and take some money from them.
That's awesome. And how successful are you with that, winning on the course in the money game?
Very successful.
And we'll leave it at that, right? So.
Yep.
Chris, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Will you be at the event, the gala?
Yes, I come every year, and we also have some of our staff attend, and we like to support the event as much as possible with our staff and board of directors and everything. So
wonderful. Well, I look forward to meeting you there, and to everyone listening to the podcast. What a great reason to give, to help people who are in need retool and refocus and retrain to enter the workforce as productive members of society. I can't imagine a better gift. A great example of that can be found in the bankruptcy court at Kalamazoo. Thank you, Chris, for your time.
Thanks so much, Sam. I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about MRC.
A much anticipated Drive for Life tradition is our annual event speaker. Each of these speakers have shared unique and individualized stories of overcoming adversity to ultimate success. This year's speaker not only continues that revered tradition, but launches the future bar of standard and expectation into deep outer space. Thank you, Mr. Wallace, for agreeing to talk with the Future of ZAG Today podcast and providing just a glimpse into your broader story and what you'll share that night of September 13th.
You ready? Let's go.
What an extraordinary journey you've had growing up in Alabama in a family of 11, playing in community college, being undrafted, then playing overseas. And then the success, 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time NBA All-Star, more blocks than personal fouls, only player with more steals than turnovers, so on and so forth. What's it like now at this point, at this moment in your career, to be going into the Basketball Hall of Fame?
It's a surreal moment. Like you say, you can talk about the journey. For me, it was about living in the moment or creating your own moment. All I ever asked for was opportunity. And once I got the opportunity, making the most of it. So, going into the Hall of Fame is something you really can't prepare for. There's no practice. There's no games or nothing. You basically just get judged by your peers. So to be selected as a Hall of Fame is definitely a great honor.
Yeah. And it's awesome to be at that point where you've achieved that. There was a quote by you in an interview you did going into the Hall of Fame. You said, "Was I in love with the journey? Was I in love with the game? Or was I in love with the struggle?" And I thought, Ben, that was a beautiful quote. Which is it for you and why?
The journey, led me to the game. The game led me out of the struggle. But in order for me to be successful at the game, I had to be in love with the struggle in order to survive in life. Tell the story that my mom put me on my life journey, and you had to be in love with the struggle, in order to succeed. And that was one of the things that she taught me, that no matter how difficult life gets, she always told me that her doors was open, that I could always come home. So that made me fall in love with the struggle, knowing that I had, a life support. I had somebody that was backing me, and I had somebody that was going to support me, through whatever I decided to do. So being in love with the struggles, for me was the only key to success.
That's awesome. You embraced the struggle. And I think a lot of our business leaders can relate to that, right? You talk about your mom as being a motivator. And I also have heard you say, Ben, that your mom wouldn't attend a basketball game until you made the NBA. Tell us about that. I'm fascinated by that.
My mom, she always supported me in everything that I did, everything that I wanted to do. She always encouraged me to do more. She put me on my life path, but I know some of the things she wanted for me was different than some of the things that I wanted. But she never attended any type of sporting event that I participated in until I made it to the NBA. It was one of those things where, people would tell her that she needed to come see me, that I was pretty good in, high school and college or whatever. She would always send my brothers or my sisters to go see me. She never attended a game. She always said, if he's that good, then I see him on TV. She always wanted to make sure, I was good as a person.
And that seemed to motivate you, right? She knew that button to push or how to motivate you. Is that accurate?
Well, absolutely. You know how to motivate me through, any and everything. No matter what I did or what I wanted to do, she always encouraged me, not to give up. You can do it. If you try, maybe you got to try a little harder, but, anything is possible. She always motivated.
So, Ben, you've made a choice. It's interesting. You could do anything after this big night on September 11th, after your induction into the Hall of Fame, to travel to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and join what will be possibly the largest charity gala in Michigan since COVID, an event in its 40th year that will generate hundreds of thousands of dollars. We actually anticipate a record haul supporting American Cancer Society, MRC Industries, Make-A-Wish, and other charities. Talk to us about what went into that decision-making for you and what it says. What's that statement?
Speaks on, my character, who I am, how I was raised. And, this is a great event. It's for a great cause. I think it's time to, bring a little more awareness to cancer, because everybody in our community, family, friends, or whatever, everybody's been affected by this disease. And I think it's important for me to use my platform to bring awareness, to let people know that, it's time to go to war and go to battle against this disease, because it has affected each and every last one of us, in our families. We all know somebody, or we all close to somebody that's been affected by cancer. And it's time to fight this disease.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely true. And on behalf of everyone who will be with you that night, we all say thank you. And we know that your affiliation with this event is going to have a huge impact. One of the other things that really connected with us is your view and vision of teamwork. The year you won the 2004 NBA Finals, I was a much younger kid watching. My team, the place I lived in that moment, happened to be Utah. And we were pretty critical of one of our players, our star player, who decided to go join the Lakers because he was bought by them, right? And the Lakers proved in that year that you cannot buy an NBA final. You cannot buy an NBA championship. What give us your thoughts on that, the series of games which you won in 5, and that idea behind it being about teamwork and you can't buy a championship.
That was a great season for us from start to end. We went through the ups and downs and the struggles of the season. We had good runs, we had bad runs to make it to the final. Like you said, you can't buy a championship. You can put all the best players in the world together on one team, and if the chemistry that is not there, it won't work. Sometimes you get lucky and you put together, a team full of stars, and the chemistry works. It works out for you. But if the chemistry don't work, you're not going to win a championship. I thought in Detroit, I thought we did it the right way. We went through the struggles, getting eliminated in Eastern Conference Finals a couple years in a row, but we kept the team together and we stayed together. And like I said, we went through that struggle together. So once we came out of it, I just feel like that team couldn't be beaten. Definitely one of the best teams ever assembled as far as the way we played the game and the way we gelled together, the type of chemistry that we had. So, I say the chemistry on that team and that brotherhood on that team rival any chemistry or any brotherhood of any sort that I've ever been a part of. So, with those guys beside by my side and the way we played, it was just going to be hard for any team to beat us.
How do you duplicate that sense of camaraderie and teamwork among a team?
I mean, it's tough because all the elements was there, for that team. At one point in time, we was all given up on in our career. All my life I've been told that I couldn't, that I was too small, or I can't do this well enough, I can't do that well enough. Chauncey came into the league, when humble beginnings. Rip getting traded from Washington, to Detroit. Mm-hmm. A humbling experience. Tayshaun coming in and, basically having to set, his entire first year, a humbling experience. And then to, acquire Rasheed. Rasheed, was traded from Washington when I was coming into Washington. So, then to be traded from Portland, then traded again from Atlanta within less than 30 days.
Yeah.
So, very humbling experience, to all land in the same spot at the same time. Like I said, the chemistry was there. We was all, out to prove a point.
Yeah.
And I think, by the end of that season, we definitely prove our point to the world.
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes you said, it's your commitment to win rather than compete. You said, I never felt the pressure of scoring or not scoring. My only pressure that year was to win. And that was the only number that mattered to me. Tell us about that thought, because that's selfless.
A lot of people talk about the numbers and score and output and plus and minus and all of that. None of that stuff really ever mattered to me. The only thing that mattered to me was winning, because you land in certain spots where, coaches just want to coach. Players just want to play, scorers want to score, rebound want to rebound, and none of that means anything to me unless you win it. Winning is the only thing that's important at the end of the night for me, because that's what I'm based on. My game is not designed to look pretty. My game is designed to go out and get win.
Oh, that's awesome. You're not there to just compete. You are there to win. That is beautiful. So every great team has a great leader. You acknowledge your mom as being your family leader, motivator. She brought you to the point where you are today. Another leader that you've acknowledged in your life is Coach Larry Brown. Talk to us a little bit about him, particularly the quote where you said practices were 10 times harder than the game. And I think that's not the case all the way across the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, Larry Brown came in and he fit the mold. He just fit the mold. He came in right away and he inserted himself within the circle. As a team that went to the Eastern Conference Final, any coach that comes in, after another coach leaves that had that type of success, he's going to be tested. He's going to be looked upon like, we really don't need you to help us get to this spot or that spot. We just need to know that you can be consistent. But, Larry Brown came in. It wasn't that we didn't need him, to get us back to the Eastern Conference Final. It was the fact that we needed that type of presence within the locker room, within the organization, period. He came in and he inserted himself into the circle. He wasn't going to sit around and try to figure everybody out. He came in and he basically posed his will on the team. And for that, he forever gained my respect because, we was a defensive minded team, that was all about team and we was locked into our ways, but he came in and he fit the mold, and it was already a pretty good team. He came in and decided he wanted us to be great, so he took us to the next level. And for that, I appreciate him for that because, he didn't just come in and sort of just hold in the role. He came in and restructured the whole team and made it work for him.
In your post-play life, has he impacted the type of person you are in the way that you seek to engage and have an influence and impact in the world?
I mean, I would say that he was definitely the type of, the type of person that I didn't mind, playing for, as far as impacting the way that I approached, everyday life. I think my mom did her job, or did a great job of making me a solid, human being. So the way I approach everyday life, the way I am in society, I give that credit to my mom.
Yeah.
For impacting my life. But, I just figured out I took my life journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't really there for anybody to change me or impact me. It was, I was basically there for you not to mess it up.
Yeah. Is your mom still with us to meet? What a great person to meet her one day. Yes?
No, actually,
she's not.
My mom passed in 2003.
Condolences.
Before we went there.
Yeah. Oh, really? Wow. What did that mean? What did that mean to you? How did that play into that win?
I mean, it was tough. Matter of fact, I buried my mom the day before I played my first NBA All-Star game. Then the following year, we won the NBA championship. So it was a tough time, man. It was tough.
Did that have some special meaning to you, winning that championship after her passing, and kind of was there a connection with her somehow in that game win?
Yeah, I think that whole year for me was just special. It was just a different moment. It was it's one of those surreal years. I don't necessarily think I had my best individual year that year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I definitely had my best team moment. I think our team concept was what really stands out to me in that year. I think, maybe a couple years before, prior, I might have had my best years as far as numbers and stats. But that year, it was just all about the team, and we just wanted to do things as a team, and it was, just tough to beat. So that year was special, especially after losing my mom.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we appreciate you being selfless and giving with your time today so that we can get the word out about this charity gala. We appreciate hearing just a little bit about your life story, and we wish you all the best in your induction into the Hall of Fame. Man, it has just been a bucket list item to be able to talk with you here today and connect, and will be even that much more so to meet you that night at the Radisson Plaza Hotel in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Ben, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron Zeigler, Dan Scheid, Chris Zeigler, and Ben Wallace for joining this special edition podcast. One ask of you, our audience, for those who have attended the event in prior years or been a sponsor or beneficiary of Drive for Life, who could answer this question: what does the event mean to you? We want your story. Share it with us at speakpipe.com/Zeigler Stories. For ease, we'll include a link in the show notes, and we intend to include as many experiences as possible, both at the event and on a future podcast episode. Well, hopefully you await the night of September 13th with as much anticipation as those charities who will benefit from your giving. It's not too late to support this worthy cause. So how do I get a ticket? There are several options. First, send an email to Beth Calloward at bk@zeigler.com. Again, that's bk@zeigler.com. Also in the show notes. You can call 269-488-2203 to talk to her directly. You can also visit the event website at driveforlifefoundation.com for more event and ticket information. Finally, if you're willing to provide corporate or partner sponsorship, which is needed, reach out to Dan Scheid at ds@zeigler.com.
Hey, look forward to seeing everybody on September 13th and spending an evening with Ben Wallace. And we're looking forward to having a lot of fun that night and raising a lot of money for charities. So thanks so much in advance for all your support.
We will see you soon, September September 13th at the ACS Drive for Life Charity Gala in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Until then, thanks for listening to this special edition of The Future of ZAG is Today.